moment I was born, I was already one of the most exceptional magical talents on the continent. Using only the mathematical knowledge accumulated from my previous life, I could rewrite the structure of magic and create entirely new spells. This even enabled my mother to ascend to become a legendary 6th-tier Grand Mage. In my previous life, I tragically died in a car accident while saving someone, and subsequently reincarnated into this magical world. Before I knew it, I had already lived here for 7 years. Through data analysis, I learned that this world operates under a strict class system. Here exist mages who can manipulate magic, knights who can wield auras, and even priests who can channel divine power. Most importantly, my mother is a mage proficient in 3rd-tier magic. What's worth noting is that the magical formulas in this world bear remarkable similarity to mathematics. Therefore, by age 7, I had already mastered 2nd-tier magic. Although my current magical power is limited, within 3 years I will certainly become a 3rd-tier mage. Today marks my mother's monthly journey away from home. She travels to the neighboring large village to sell tea leaves. I decided to accompany my mother on this trip and seize this opportunity to explore the outside world. However, she refused my request, as she was unaware of my magical abilities, and the roads are fraught with numerous monsters. Thinking of my mother traversing these dangerous paths alone filled my heart with anguish, which further intensified my desire to grow stronger. In this world, achieving 5th-tier mage status grants you treatment second only to a baron. Reaching 7th-tier Grand Mage status would ensure a lifetime of comfort and security. My dream is to become a 7th-tier Grand Mage and live happily with my mother. After employing a series of sweet words and persuasive tactics, my mother finally agreed to my request. However, I must promise not to engage in any dangerous activities, and she would be responsible for ensuring my safety. Of course, I have complete faith in you. The scene shifts. At this moment, we are walking along a forest path, and I find everything before me incredibly fascinating. Since this is my first time leaving home, I am displaying tremendous excitement. After a while, my mother signals for me to sit nearby and rest. At this moment, the monsters nearby catch my attention. Could these actually be orcs? My mother is currently worried that I might be frightened. But unexpectedly, I appear quite delighted, remarking that these must be the green pigs described in books. Upon hearing this, the orcs immediately fly into a rage. Simultaneously, I observe my mother gathering flame magic in her hands. Then she whispers, "Don't worry, Ellie, I will protect you." Subsequently, a massive fireball flies toward the monsters. Moments later, it burns them to a crisp, and they flee in terror from this place. I never expected my mother to be so formidable. For my safety, my mother begins educating me about different monster types. Trolls possess extraordinary regenerative abilities. Demons have exceptional defensive capabilities. Troll blood is highly sought after due to its regenerative properties, while demon leather is extremely valuable because they are exceptionally difficult to capture. If I were to capture them, could I earn substantial compensation? My mother then informs me that our destination is a city called Banzek, and it will take approximately 3 more days to reach our destination. She wonders if I can keep up. Naturally, I give her an affirmative response. After days of traveling through mountains and rivers, we finally reach our destination, and this place will become my first step toward wealth. The scene transitions as we arrive in the city. This is the liveliest scene I have witnessed in many years. Under my mother's guidance, we enter a shop called Dibble, where the proprietor has been waiting for quite some time. While the two chat, he notices my small stature and appears quite curious about my presence. My mother introduces me to him. "This is Ellie, my beloved son." Just as he is about to greet me, the next second, he appears utterly shocked. Because I possess eyes that differ from those of my peers, I realize that he is evaluating me. While he remains stunned, my mother's voice brings him back to reality. She then hands over the tea leaves to him. From their conversation, it becomes clear that he treats people with great kindness. Shortly after, we depart from this place. At this moment, my mother appears quite pleased, believing that my future will surely hold great achievements. The scene shifts as we prepare to enter the magic tower, because my mother needs to sell mana stones inscribed with runes. Mana stones are stones embedded with magical power that allow ordinary people to easily use magic. Although I have methods to simplify the process of inscribing magical power, the materials are extremely expensive, so I dare not attempt it carelessly. However, I have heard that magic books and materials are sold within the magic tower. Inside the magic tower, one can purchase legendary 9th-tier magic books, and even 10th-tier ones. Currently, the strongest mage on the continent has only reached the 9th tier, and throughout history, no legendary 10th-tier Grand Mage has ever appeared. Upon hearing this, I immediately freeze in place. It seems I still have a very long journey ahead to become the strongest Grand Mage. The scene changes as we enter the magic tower. We then sell the mana stones to an uncle, who warmly welcomes my arrival. He proceeds to introduce us to his son. Gedrick, who achieved first-tier mage status at merely 12 years old. He then signals for him to demonstrate an energy bolt. The next second, I observe him condensing energy in both hands. Even my mother finds this incredible. Unexpectedly, the pig-headed uncle attempts to take advantage of the situation. I can no longer tolerate this. Originally, I planned not to display my abilities until age 10, but now I can endure no more. A mere energy bolt. I can accomplish that as well. My mother still believes I am lying. But the next second, powerful magical energy suddenly erupts. I then shout loudly, "Energy bolt!" Instantly, powerful energy condenses in my hand. As the energy in my hand dissipates, everything returns to calm, leaving only two people standing there in bewilderment. Even my mother appears utterly incredulous. Indeed, my Ellie is the most wonderful. Simultaneously, I observe a white-haired elder loudly questioning everyone who was casting magic just now. He is the master of this magic tower. Observing his unfathomable magical power, could this be the strength of a 7th-tier Grand Mage? He immediately identifies me as the culprit because I possess eyes that do not match my age. And Grand Mages are beings capable of seeing through others' hearts. He then invites me to the tower's summit. He is quite curious. Although I used first-tier magic, my casting time was remarkably brief. He wants to understand how I accomplished this. Even 7th-tier Grand Mages require extremely lengthy incantations, which would certainly mean death in combat. Therefore, he wishes to learn this rapid casting method from me. I respond with a knowing smile. This world-class secret technique, surely you don't expect to extract it from me without paying any price? Upon hearing this, even the elder never expected me to be so shrewd. Would satisfying your conditions suffice? Naturally, I give an affirmative response, then present my conditions. I require 8th and 9th tier magic books along with some magic stones. The elder immediately appears extremely shocked. Although he doesn't understand my intentions, he will prepare some books and a substantial quantity of magic stones for me. The two of us complete this transaction quite pleasantly. However, even he never anticipated that a 7-year-old child would prove so difficult to handle. I then instruct the elder, please maintain confidentiality about what occurred here. The scene shifts as my mother inquires with surprise, how exactly did I learn magic? I relied on the magic books at home and self-created magical formulas for learning. In my previous life, I was passionate about solving various mathematical problems because I could find joy in the solving process. However, magical formulas are considerably more challenging than mathematics. By simply modifying the structure of magic, I can maintain its power while shortening the incantation time. Even my mother cannot help but praise me as a genius. 2 years pass unnoticed. My mother now masters 4th-tier magic, and we have moved from Rank Village to near the Magic Tower. On this particular day, while traveling to the Magic Tower, an unexpected incident occurs. I observe 2 young women being ordered around like dogs, even subjected to physical abuse. I immediately intervene to stop them. Looking at the 2 pitiful figures, my mother has already gathered flames, as we have no need to communicate with these individuals. Working together with my mother, the enemies quickly flee in defeat. We then remove the collars from their necks. You're safe now. Upon learning they have nowhere to go, my mother decides to take them in. The scene transitions. I am now 12 years old. Today, Selena wakes me as usual. Then she condenses magical power in her hands. The next second, a golden bird begins circling around me. Moments later, I open my sleepy eyes. And praise Selena. Your wind magic is becoming increasingly impressive. However, working all day and studying magic with me, don't you feel exhausted? She responds, although it was quite tiring initially, after experiencing the joy of magic, I no longer feel tired. She then signals for me to get up quickly. The scene shifts. Kenna is just as usual. She has just finished her usual sword training. She finds pleasure in swordsmanship. The more she wields her blade, the more energetic she becomes. And she eagerly wants to demonstrate her training results to me. Although they are similar in age to me, they have tragic pasts. Initially, I worried they might not adapt to living with us, but it appears my concerns were unnecessary. Selena possesses magical talent and is now a mage proficient in 1st-tier magic. Kenna trains in swordsmanship with her excellent athletic abilities. I believe they will surely achieve great things in the near future. Meanwhile, my mother cheerfully greets us all. Could some good news have occurred? That's right. I am now a mage proficient in 5th-tier magic. Upon hearing this, everyone congratulates her enthusiastically. I have already planned the celebration method. While everyone appears puzzled, I lead them to the Magic Tower, although the elder is quite displeased with my long absence. Thanks to my rapid casting, he achieved victory in his battle against the Solomon Mage. However, he is curious why I would come here at this particular time. I then begin my explanation. I place mana stones one by one on the table. The elder appears shocked because these are currently the most difficult magic stones to obtain on the continent. Could I be their creator? These magic stones possess magical power comparable to high-grade stones, but unlike ordinary magic stones that can only be used once, these can be repeatedly recharged. Due to this extremely rare manufacturing technique, they have attracted competition from various magic towers. Although they can be seen everywhere, fortunately, they have not taken any action yet. I consider that perhaps Tower Master Grandfather might be interested in this. After a moment of contemplation, Tower Master Grandfather signals for me to state my conditions. He need only agree to my 4 conditions to obtain the magic stone manufacturing method and sales rights. First, please have the magic tower provide protection for my family members. After all, once the continent's strongest magic tower takes over the magic stones, they will no longer target us. Second, I need some books on swordsmanship and magic, because these two possess exceptional talent and require more books for learning. Third, please arrange good accommodations at an inn for us, because my mother has become a 5th-tier mage, and I want to help her celebrate. Upon hearing this, my mother immediately tears up with emotion, as protecting this piece is most important to me. Simultaneously, the Tower Master inquires about my final condition. I need books on creating magical golems. The Tower Master appears quite surprised, as these are beings that cannot be created even with design blueprints. However, I tell him, I am merely curious, though I know well that to achieve my ultimate goal, I must possess magical golems. After the Magic Stone incident, 4 years quickly pass. Several assassins are currently lurking near my home. They have received a commission to safely capture the Magic Stone creator and bring him back alive. However, if there is any resistance, they are to kill without mercy. Meanwhile, I have already appeared before them in an instant, and acknowledged their intentions. Subsequently, 3 massive magical golems suddenly appear behind them. The enemies who regain their composure immediately swing their swords, but the next second, the swords actually shatter completely. This is followed by their agonized screams. Moments later, the golems lift the 2 men and carry them deep into the forest. Although they are incomplete golems, they possess tremendous strength and agile movements. From the moment I obtained the golem books, I devoted myself entirely to golem creation. While they performed their guard duties admirably, they still fall far short of my objectives. The scene changes. Today, as usual, Selena is preparing breakfast, while Kenna, returning from training, still wants to show me her progress. The only difference is that my mother is not here. Meanwhile, my mother is attempting to control this massive flame. Only by completely mastering it can she become a 6th-tier Grand Mage, but all attempts end in failure. At this moment, I call for my mother to come home for dinner, but she refuses. She must quickly become a 6th-tier Grand Mage, because she has her own pressing reasons. This is the first time I have seen such an expression on my mother's face. It appears my mother is indeed quite anxious. I then recall a method for improving concentration. If I teach it to my mother, perhaps it could help her. Abdominal breathing technique. Focus attention on the abdomen. Breathe deeply through the nose. Then exhale all air from the body through the mouth. Once they master this, they can improve their concentration. Clearly, the 2 young women are not suited to this breathing method. This appears quite difficult for them. However, my mother nearby appears extremely focused. Even the 2 find this hard to believe. I can sense magical power slowly gathering around my mother. She is concentrating entirely on sensing the magical energy. The magical power gradually permeates her entire body and is rapidly increasing. This is a sensation she has never experienced before. It seems Ellie truly is a genius. However, precisely because of this, to create a better growth environment for me, she must return to that place. As my mother slowly opens her eyes, she can feel magical power flowing within her body. The next second, using only one hand, my mother summons a massive fireball and easily transforms its shape in her hand. With this, she will certainly become a 6th-tier Grand Mage. Seeing my mother's smile return, I finally breathe a sigh of relief. At this moment, only one thought remains in my mind: to complete the golem creation as quickly as possible. However, I overlook the changes in my mother. If I had noticed this at the time, perhaps we would have continued living peacefully. But these are events that will occur in the future. After my mother's advancement to 6th-tier Grand Mage, I throw myself entirely into golem creation. I want to create golems capable of possessing self-awareness. But this is not an easy task, because it requires 8th-tier mind magic. Given my current abilities, this is completely impossible, leaving only the option of using dark magic. Through abundant negative emotions, one can form a consciousness. Although I can understand the theory, I cannot execute it, as this is far too difficult for someone who has just mastered 6th-tier magic. It appears I cannot master this until becoming a 7th-tier Grand Mage. Currently, I have no clue about this. When my mother successfully advanced to 6th-tier Grand Mage, I must have overlooked some crucial detail. At this moment, Selena interrupts my thoughts, because it is time to check her magical training. However, I am curious, has she encountered some difficulty? She then explains, although this is somewhat embarrassing to mention, she wants to understand the essence of magical power. Beyond the sensation of magical power filling her entire body, she can feel different types of magical power mixing within her, but she doesn't understand the significance of this. What kind of power and characteristics do they possess? Therefore, she wants me to provide some answers. Hearing this strikes me like thunder. The next second, I turn around and search through the magic stones. Then use magical power to sense each stone. Just as she described, the magic stones contain various different types of magical power. Different types of magical power mix and interweave together to form magic. I have finally found the breakthrough. Magical power possesses different types. I want to understand more, so I fully enter my inner world. Here, magical power resembles a vast ocean, appearing particularly beautiful under the starlight. This reminds me of games I played in my previous life, where team coordination was crucial when conquering dungeons. By mastering each individual's characteristics and then arranging reasonable combinations, one can demonstrate the most powerful strength. This is precisely my area of expertise. Through different combination arrangements, perhaps I can create the most powerful magic. Now I should begin conducting experiments. I then make the magic stones levitate in the air. If I rearrange these types in new combinations, I will certainly be able to create the most powerful magic. As the magical power in my hands continues expanding, if this development continues, I will eventually be drawn into this force. However, to become the legendary 7th tier Grand Mage, I must give everything I have. Meanwhile, the magical world experiences collapse. The next second, a golden phoenix suddenly appears before me. Just as I'm about to reach out and touch it, I suddenly awaken from the dream. What meets my eyes is Selena's worried expression. I am puzzled why I am lying on the ground, but most importantly, I have now advanced my magical tier, because Selena's reminder provided me with enlightenment. However, she is curious about what level of magic I have mastered, as she senses magical power stronger than my mother's emanating from me. I decline to comment on this matter. I clearly know that in the near future my goal will certainly be realized. Wait for me, the strongest night golem on the continent. While I am celebrating my breakthrough, my mother appears deeply troubled. Although this is an ideal place for seclusion, to provide me with a better growth environment, my mother must make a decision. To return to that hometown filled with painful memories. For this, she hopes that my deceased father can properly protect me. The scene shifts. Today marks my 17th birthday, so I decide to showcase my specialty dishes to everyone. After some preparation, using only golden fried rice and pickles, I completely win over everyone's taste buds. Looking at the empty plates, I feel quite satisfied. At this moment, my mother expresses her desire to speak with me privately. Seeing my mother's sincere expression, I agree to her request. The scene changes as we sit in silence for a long time in the room. Could she be dissatisfied with the food I prepared? Just as I am thinking this, my mother's words bring me back to reality. She indicates that there are some things I should know by now, about her past and my father. She is actually the daughter of the Einhart Marquis family from the Storm Empire. Upon hearing this, my eyes immediately widen. The Einhart of the Storm Empire? This continent contains hundreds of countries, and the Storm Empire is one of the 5 strongest nations. The Einhart Marquis family within it is renowned for cultivating many excellent mages. It is said that Marquis Einhart will soon break through to become an 8th tier Grand Mage, while his son, with 7th tier Grand Mage authority, wields real power in the nation. Although I have previously suspected my mother's true identity, considering the necklace she wears is an artifact that only 7th tier Grand Mages can create, and all the books in this house would be difficult to access unless one comes from a noble family. My mother then begins her narration. Within 4 days of her birth, she lost her mother and grew up under the care of her brother and father. At age 7, the family offered her to the Storm Empire's prince through an arranged marriage. However, my mother is someone who yearns greatly for freedom. She wants to live according to her own will. At this time, Ryan's appearance changed everything. Although he was a mage in my mother's household, he encouraged my mother to pursue freedom. On the wedding day, my mother decided to elope with Rain and begin the journey toward freedom. Even though the path to freedom was extremely difficult, as long as she was with Rain, my mother felt very happy. However, within a year, they were captured and brought back to the Einhart family. Although she had threatened her father, hoping he would spare Rain, he was not swayed by this. However, if my mother agreed to remain here forever, he would consider sparing Rain. Thus, with my mother's agreement, both were finally released. Just as the two were having their final farewell, a sword strike fell. Father departed from this world forever. This was the punishment for staining the Einhart family's reputation. From then on, this scene became a memory my mother could never erase. Afterward, because my mother had ruined the marriage arrangement with the Empire, she was expelled from the family. However, her father, to preserve the family's honor, arranged for her to live here. Only upon becoming a 6th-tier Grand Mage would my mother have the qualification to return there. At that time, my mother had already lost all will to live. But my appearance changed everything. Watching me grow up healthily was her happiest time. She wanted to give me all the most beautiful things. For this, she must return to that family. Ellie. I want to reclaim that name. She now possesses the qualifications to return. Once she returns there, I can obtain a better growth environment. Ellie, let's go back together. However, facing my mother's decision to return to the family, I find it extremely difficult to understand why my mother must return to that terrible place. The treatment enjoyed by the Einhart family differs fundamentally from the nobles of this country. Currently, Marquis Einhart's status equals that of royalty. My mother hopes I can develop my inner potential in a better environment. For this, she hopes I can consider it. Looking at my mother's serious expression, I believe I cannot refuse this proposal. Therefore, I agree with my mother. Now we should begin preparing to leave this place. Moments later, I exit the room. I observe both of them appearing extremely worried. They are unclear about what their future holds, as they are slaves, and if I return to the Einhart family, they cannot continue following me. However, I indicate this is nothing to worry about. Because you are my family, I will create reasonable identities for you. Upon hearing this, both finally smile happily. However, I am now preparing to visit a certain place, so I ask both to prepare for departure. Since I cannot change my mother's mind, only one thing remains to be done. The scene shifts as I arrive at the Dibble shop. Since I granted them magic stone sales rights, they have now become the industry leader. I come here today with a request, as they possess an extensive information network. Naturally, he gives an affirmative response. However, my next words make him tremble, because I want to know everything about the Einhart family. This is also the first time he has seen me display such a serious expression, so he begins his account. The Einhart Marquis family is a family with 700 years of history, belonging to the noble aristocracy within the Storm Empire. It is one of the most prestigious families in the Empire, having produced 3 8th-tier Grand Mages, and this family possesses hundreds of mages. At that time, the Marquis wielded considerable influence. If he wished, he could mobilize thousands of mages. After the elopement incident, his reputation became even more widespread. Facing the Marquis's daughter eloping with another man on her wedding night, the Prince and Marquis actually forgave them and helped them live quietly. You must understand that such events could only lead to death at that time, so everyone praised the Marquis and Prince for their magnanimity. Upon hearing this, I appear extremely shocked. Despite committing such terrible acts, they actually used my mother to gain reputation for themselves. However, there are also rumors that the Marquis would stop at nothing for the family's reputation, so he advises me not to become involved with them. If we return there, they will certainly accept Mother, but Mother will very likely be exploited by them again. If they engage in such behavior once more, I will absolutely not forgive them. At the same time, Dibble reminds me that the Tower Master has been quite lonely lately. The scene shifts, and I turn to enter the tower. I bring the Tower Master an exquisite gift. That is the design blueprint for the Knight Golem. Upon hearing this, the Tower Master immediately appears dumbfounded. But given the current situation, creating a golem with self-consciousness is nearly impossible. The Tower Master beside me listens but shows no concern whatsoever. Clearly, he has seen through my true inner thoughts at a glance. However, he does not press me further with questions. Subsequently, I inform him of my impending departure from this place and that I may very well never return. After a moment of contemplation, the Tower Master begins to murmur. It seems this matter is very important to you. Go ahead and act boldly. He believes that with my talent, I can achieve fame and success anywhere. He looks forward to my future growth. Someday, I will return to visit you again. The scene changes. After bidding farewell to everyone, only one final matter remains. I raise my hand and summon forth a massive magic circle. In the next second, a night golem clad in golden armor slowly materializes. This is the golem I created with self-consciousness, the Golden Knight. Although there is nothing important right now, before long, you will have tasks to perform. But until then, you shall remain in the dimensional space. After receiving the command, the Golden Knight turns and walks into the dimensional space. He represents the crystallization of all my magical knowledge. If possible, I hope I will never need to use his power. Now then, it is time to prepare for departure. Meanwhile, the Einhart family has concluded their investigation regarding the magic stones, and they have finally found the source. However, the Marquis is quite curious why it required several years of investigation. Because the magic stone creators' golems are extremely powerful. Even when they dispatched the most elite assassins, none returned. Upon hearing this, the Marquis falls into contemplation. It seems they have achieved remarkable accomplishments. Currently, all magic towers are searching for the source of the magic stones. After all, the production cost of these magic stones is very low. If they could obtain this technology, it would be no small fortune. Moreover, it could elevate Einhart's leadership to become one of the continent's most prominent entities. However, what follows shocks him greatly. Because the creator of the magic stones is a mage named Seifel. More precisely, it should be her son, Ellie. He never expected it would be his daughter. Therefore, he immediately orders Seifel to be brought here. He wants her to propose conditions for returning to the family. He believed that as long as the family can acknowledge her son, she will surely be unable to refuse. If they obtain the method for creating magic stones, the family will certainly return to its peak period. But what if this action provokes the prince's displeasure? As long as no conflict arises between the two families, it should be fine. Perhaps she was useless in the past, but now she can be of service. Meanwhile, everyone embarks on the journey home. The thought of returning to that terrible place immediately weighs heavily on Mother's heart. In truth, I do not want Mother to return there. I want to tell Mother that I am now a 7th tier Grand Mage, but I do not know how to explain this. In this world, if someone masters 7th tier magic at age 40, that person would be called a genius. Yet I am already a 7th tier Grand Mage at merely 17 years old. If I tell Mother, I will surely be regarded as an anomalous existence. Therefore, I must bury this secret deep in my heart. The scene shifts as we arrive outside the teleportation magic circle. By using magic teleportation to the Storm Empire, we can save considerable time. However, we are told that teleporting 4 people to the Storm Empire costs 800 gold coins, which is simply too expensive for us. The man nearby assumes we cannot afford these gold coins and signals for us to leave quickly. At the same time, Kane delivers a flying kick. Please do not casually touch my family members. Just as the situation is about to escalate, the supervisor's appearance timely prevents this. He first apologizes for the man's behavior. Then he states that there is a discount for 4 people traveling to the Empire. Only 360 gold coins are needed. After paying the fee, we enter the teleportation magic circle, as several blue lights slowly descend. In the next second, we are teleported to the Storm Empire. A prosperous city comes into view. This must be Capamil in the Storm Empire. Mother then indicates that we will stay overnight at that place. Before arriving at the Marquis's mansion, we must register Kane and Selena as mercenaries. Based on their abilities, they can definitely become high-level mercenaries. Just then, Mother appears extremely shocked. It is actually Prince Alka's Highness. Could the prince be Mother's former fiancé? Based on the current information available, from when my parents were captured to when Father was brutally murdered, all of this was orchestrated by the prince. Meanwhile, the prince is hypocritically greeting Mother and inquiring whose children these are. The two nearby assume the prince is very gentle and kind. But only I know the true face hidden beneath the mask. Because as a 7th tier Grand Mage, I can see through everyone's true thoughts. He actually has designs on Mother. What a disgusting countenance. I then begin my self-introduction. Nice to meet you, I am her son Ellie. Upon hearing this, the prince immediately shows a bewildered expression, then uses work as an excuse to take his leave. He leans close to Mother's ear and says, "You can never escape from my grasp. What a damned fellow." The prince knows well that her return here means she has now become a 6th tier Grand Mage. A woman with both beauty and talent is most suitable to be his woman. However, he must find a way to eliminate me, this troublesome obstacle. Shortly after the prince leaves, Mother finally breathes a sigh of relief. She then indicates we should proceed to the guild for registration. The scene changes as we arrive at the Mercenary Guild. According to the registration rules, to determine the registrant's true level, one must duel with the guildmaster, who is an A-rank mercenary. But to accommodate the 2 young ladies, the guildmaster decides to let both participate in the duel test together. Upon hearing this, both immediately feel offended. They then decide they must teach her a lesson. In no time, everyone arrives at the dueling arena. As the guildmaster announces the test begins, instantly, both their eyes fill with killing intent. Kane slowly draws the long sword in her hand. In the next second, with a flash step, the guildmaster is immediately sent flying. Simultaneously, Selena slowly chants magic. A tornado then rises from the ground. In merely 10 seconds, they end this duel with magnificent style. Even the guildmaster exclaims that they possess the strength of B-rank mercenaries completely. It appears they have obtained the highest level. While everyone feels delighted, Mother seems absent-minded. After a long while, she finally reacts. It seems the prince's appearance has reminded Mother of some unpleasant matters. The scene shifts. At this moment, Mother is lost in contemplation. She never expected the prince to remain so obsessed with her. Even though she now has a family, he still wants to take Mother as a concubine. If things continue this way, my final fate will be the same as Father's. Mother will absolutely not allow such a thing to happen. Although the family and the prince are birds of a feather, Mother will find every possible way to protect me. Just then, a knock on the door interrupts her thoughts. It is me, Ellie. Mother then says, what if we offer the method for creating magic stones as a condition to the Einhart family? After all, the entire continent covets this technology, and the Einhart family is no exception. If we give this to them, I believe they will definitely protect you. But I respond to this, even without doing so, I can still protect everyone. And us too. The two emerge slowly from behind the door. So today, let us forget all unpleasant matters. Watching such understanding children, Mother is moved to tears. She then begins conversing with us. In my previous life, my parents passed away very early. When they were overwhelmed by debt, how I wished I could have helped them. Now that I have been reincarnated into this world, with my own power alone, I can achieve faster growth than others. This time, I want to accomplish what I could not do for my parents in my previous life. Anyone who interferes with my happy life, I will absolutely not forgive. After a night of celebration, today we finally decide to go to the Einhart family. I hope no problems will arise today. The scene changes as we arrive before the Einhart Marquis's mansion. It seems that after 17 years, this place remains unchanged. Mother then tells the guard that they have come to visit the Marquis, but are told this requires prior appointment. Then tell Marquis Einhart that Seifel, who was expelled 17 years ago, has returned. Upon hearing this, the soldier immediately runs off in fright to report. According to rumors, the Einhart family's power gradually declined after the marriage escape incident. After expelling her, father was very heartbroken, even refusing to eat or drink for an entire month. As for the act of killing Rain, it was entirely due to the prince's command, not his own intention. But why did father end up in such a state? Meanwhile, I signal mother not to worry excessively. Moments later, two people come stumbling toward us. They immediately begin apologizing to mother, stating they should not have expelled her for the family's reputation. Just then, he notices me nearby. Could this be your son? Mother gives an affirmative answer to this. I then begin my self-introduction to the Marquis. From his eyes, I deeply sense hypocrisy, because from the first moment he saw me, he scanned my magical power at astonishing speed. To become a 5th-tier mage at 17 is truly an unexpectedly remarkable existence for him. But what he does not know is that I have already become a 7th-tier Grand Mage. Subsequently, Uncle indicates we should enter the house for detailed discussion. The scene changes. They arrange for Kane and Selena to rest first, then get straight to the point and ask Mother, Seifel, are you truly the creator of the magic stones? If the family masters this technology, then the family's wealth will advance further. It will simultaneously have tremendous impact on the Empire's mages. At that time, the family will become even more powerful. The Einhart family will replace the royal family. Clearly, Marquis Einhart's words are filled with greed. He hopes that since Mother has returned to the family, she must contribute her strength for the family. However, Mother proposes a condition. That is to make me the Einhart Marquis. Upon hearing this, everyone present feels extremely shocked. Mother believes this is only natural, because the true creator of the magic stones is actually Ellie. Moreover, just as her father saw through his magical power scan, 17-year-old Ellie is now a 5th-tier Grand Mage. Among existing 8th-tier Grand Mages, who possesses such astonishing talent, she believes that in the near future I will definitely become the Storm Empire's strongest mage. Magic stones plus the world's strongest mage. The Einhart family will surely become the continent's most powerful entity. So will you make her the Marquis? Please answer me. Facing such a forceful mother, the Marquis hurriedly indicates he cannot make such a momentous decision now. But Mother demands he must decide immediately. Ellie will certainly become a stronger mage than you. If you cannot agree to this requirement, then I will not tell you the method for creating magic stones. Upon hearing this, the Marquis desperately suppresses his inner rage. He never expected Mother to become so forceful. It seems that motherhood truly makes one strong. Therefore, he can only state that he needs time to consider. Moments later, we exit the room, although I worry about Mother. Mother indicates I need not be concerned. After escorting Mother back to her room, I return to my own chamber. I know well that the Marquis will definitely not accept such conditions. For this reason, I need to observe them further. I summon forth a pair of glasses. Although my vision is excellent, I need to wear glasses to better focus my attention. The glasses can better observe the flow of magical power. As for what the Marquis is thinking now, let me investigate. I immediately use concealment magic. Then I arrive in the Marquis's room. Uncle is quite doubtful. Could such a child also become a Marquis? In terms of talent alone, becoming a 5th-tier Grand Mage at 17 makes him an invaluable talent. Regarding qualifications, his son definitely possesses them, but he is a child raised in foreign lands, so he is not suitable for our family. Moreover, what if he has returned for revenge? Even Seifel has become a 6th-tier Grand Mage. This could lead to serious problems. But the Marquis states there is no need to panic, as the Marquis's mansion contains over 26-tier mages. He then mentions the envelope received from the prince. The letter states that if the Marquis agrees, he will find every means to take Seifel as a concubine. But if we do this, Seifel might very well expose all the family's secrets to the public. Meanwhile, the Marquis orders him to shut up. Although they have used magical devices for processing, walls have ears after all. If these matters leak out, it would be enough to instantly destroy the entire Einhart family. Returning to the main topic, they actually need not worry about the prince's side, because they are grasshoppers on the same rope. The prince taking a concubine, magic stone production, and Ellie's talent, these are all precious things not to be missed. If it were you, what would you choose to do? He knows well this is a test from father, so he must perform well. First, he will reply to the prince, "We are delighted for the prince to take Seifel as a concubine." Then he will capture Ellie and use Ellie's life to demand the method for creating magic stones from Seifel. Finally, after obtaining the magic stone creation method, Seifel will be sent to the prince's side. If he dares to resist, I will seal his power as a mage. Moreover, I will cultivate Ellie to become a mage loyal to the family. As for the prince's side, we need only deceive him with a fake corpse. Well said, Gelton. You are indeed most suitable to become the next Marquis. Meanwhile, I am already clenching my fists in rage. Do such people deserve to be my family? I regret why I did not stop Mother from returning here. From beginning to end, my starting point has been wanting Mother to live better. For this reason, I always respect Mother's choices. But unexpectedly, this is the result. If they only exploit me, I can still endure it. But involving Mother again, I will absolutely not forgive you. Meanwhile, the Marquis finally senses something amiss, but it is too late. I have already gathered magical power in my hand. With a shout, endless flames. In the next second, the entire house explodes on the spot. Moments later, only 2 people remain standing dazed in place. The Marquis finds it incredible that I could instantly cast such large-scale magic that normally requires half an hour of incantation. Then the defense forces come rushing toward them. It seems you are still alive. That is good, because ending it like this would be too boring. I swear I will make you taste all forms of suffleague, make you regret targeting my family. Those who obstruct my path will all experience endless pain and despair. In the next second, a massive golden knight appears before everyone. At this moment, the Marquis shows excitement, because golems are even rarer than magic stones. Subsequently, everyone launches an attack on the golem, but in just one encounter, the entire force is immediately defeated. The Marquis is currently fantasizing that if he obtains this golem, the family could become the continent's most powerful entity. He then orders my capture and demands I reveal information about the magic stones. You are truly too greedy. Is your current wealth still insufficient to fill the bottomless pit in your heart? I then raise my hand and inject magical power into the golem. Even the 2 nearby exclaim that I possess such powerful magical force. As a 5th-tier mage, to be able to create such a powerful golden knight, he suddenly recalls that I could also use 7th-tier magic earlier. In an instant, he understands everything. I used an illusion. I am actually a 7th-tier grand mage. Even the Marquis, who is the strongest 7th-tier mage, was deceived by me. He then angrily gathers magical power in his hands. A powerful blue energy immediately attacks me, but I merely lift my right hand lightly and eliminate it in an instant. People like you are not worthy of being my family. Go to hell. Just then, Mother calls out to stop me, as she still does not understand what has happened. However, I do not want Mother to know what I am about to do, and their filthy plans. I cannot even imagine how Mother would feel upon learning of their schemes. Faced with Mother's inquiry, I do not know how to answer her. I have never seen her so angry before. It seems I now have no choice. I then raise my hand and summon an energy orb. The Marquis immediately recognizes it as recording magic. Has he been recording everything that happened before? If these matters leak out, it will be troublesome. He immediately orders Ellie's immediate execution. But the situation is still unclear, and Ellie is your grandson. However, the Marquis pays no heed to this and still orders my swift elimination. Meanwhile, I give a command to the Golden Knight: simply defeat them, do not harm their lives. The Golden Knight then summons a sword in his hand. My lord, I obey your command. At this time, everyone shouts to shatter that sword. But only I know that is impossible, because the golden sword is the Golden Knight's symbol. It is crafted by dwarves using pure steel, and magical metal runes are carved around the blade. The blade surface is enchanted with magic that can transfer impact force, while also applying sharpening magic to increase penetration ability. Therefore, this golden sword can compete with the legendary divine swords. Just like the games I played in my previous life, if the strongest combination's power remains stagnant, then someday it will be defeated by enemies. So only by continuously improving one's limits can one become the strongest existence. Meanwhile, the Golden Knight suddenly swings his sword. In the next second, a powerful sword pressure instantly defeats the enemy forces. This is truly a monster-like existence. Just as everyone wants to flee from battle, the Knight Captain comes rushing over. It seems he is the so-called captain. Then, in the competition among so-called experts, he should be at the upper level. The Marquis then orders the captain to execute Ellie immediately. Of course, I will resolve him in an instant, but I remain completely composed. Golden Knight. Activate second form. Seal release. Under everyone's astonished gaze, the Golden Knight completes his second form transformation. He then raises his hand and summons the golden sword. The captain nearby finds it unbelievable, because the knight's aura actually surrounds him. As the Golden Knight slowly approaches, the captain also wields his long sword. In the next second, the two powerful warriors clash intensely. A blinding light flashes across. At this moment, I know the outcome is decided. Meanwhile, the captain is already severely wounded. He still wears an expression of disbelief. Then he collapses to the ground. At this time, the Golden Knight swings his golden sword toward the Marquis and others. Although the protective barrier absorbs much of the damage, its intense sword pressure still instantly kills many soldiers. Even the Marquis is frightened by the scene before him. Next, my target is those mages in the Marquis's mansion. But before that, Mother, Do you really want to know the truth? Of course, because she believes I have reasons for acting this way. There must be some important information here, although the Marquis desperately wants to stop my actions. The incredibly powerful Golden Knight nearby makes her abandon the idea, because her power alone is completely helpless. Even if everyone present could restrain me, as long as I choose to flee from here, the family will be destroyed. Meanwhile, to protect Mother's safety, I use magic to create a space. What follows is the moment for Mother to face the truth. Looking at countless memory fragments before her, Mother learns the whole story. Whether it is the prince wanting to take her as a concubine, or uncle fearing Mother will expose the family's secrets to the public, or father's complete indifference to all this, even uncle's entire plan. At this moment, Mother feels nothing but heartbreak. When she returns, she thought father had always regarded her as family, but she discovers she was wrong. She understands this family's terrifying nature better than anyone, yet she brought me to this terrible place. No familial affection exists here whatsoever. Although Mother can endure being exploited by the family, she never expected the family's claws would reach toward me. When father died, Mother should have harbored deep hatred for the family, but she chose to believe. She believed all this was due to the prince's orders. Now Mother has awakened. She knows well that these people do not understand what familial affection is, what love is. Everyone in their eyes is merely a tool for wielding power. This is their true nature. Even though the truth is so cruel, it is time for her to accept it. After emerging from the space, Mother resolves not to escape anymore. I notice the tears sliding down from the corners of her eyes. It seems that even after suffering such great harm, Mother still regards them as family in her heart. However, I will absolutely not easily forgive you. As I raise my left hand high, in the next second a giant bird appears before everyone. It then emits a deafening sound. Even uncle cannot help but cover his ears. Using the power of sound to weaken morale? I never expected mere 5th tier magic to affect a 7th tier mage. It seems you truly possess exceptional talent. Do not worry, you are next. After I use magic to reduce the enemy's morale, the Marquis suddenly changes his tone. Do you truly not consider serving the family? The family's lack of your presence would be a tremendous loss. If you agree to serve the family, he can pretend these events never happened and ensure their safety. What do you think? I immediately realize this old man is trying to bewitch me. Not only my father, but also those soldiers. Now even me. What a detestable old man. It seems the bewitchment had no effect on him. But I have one question I cannot understand. Why do you treat your family this way? What is family? Many nobles choose to sell their children for the family's prosperity. This is commonplace. Upon hearing this, I immediately feel extremely shocked. This person is truly a demon-like existence. He's quite curious about who taught me my magic. After all, mastering 7th tier magic at 17 is truly astonishing. Although I state it is all self-taught. He harbors doubt about this. I completely disregard his thoughts because I detest such people who only treat family as tools. However, I can offer you a proposal. If my family and I escape from here and then expose your actions, your family will face disaster. This gold coin records everything that just happened. This truth affects not only the entire Einhart family, but also involves the Empire's prince. If this matter becomes public, the Storm Empire will experience an unprecedented catastrophe. If you do not wish to see such events occur, then fight me fair and square. If you can defeat me, I will destroy the coin and leave here. Upon hearing this, the Marquis immediately becomes interested. As long as 2 people attack simultaneously, defeating me is only a matter of time. But I pay no heed to this, because they greatly underestimate me. I will show them what despair means. As I throw the energy in my hand, 2 massive energies collide with each other. In an instant, a tremendous impact occurs. Meanwhile, the king has already learned about the events that transpired within the Marquis's mansion. According to rumors, witnesses saw someone using 7th tier magic, which is an extremely significant matter. If this was caused by the Einhart family's experiments, then they will be held accountable. But if internal problems have arisen, then it's best to wait and see, ultimately reaping the benefits as a third party. The king intends to use this opportunity to reduce the Einhart family's power. Indeed, he truly deserves to be called a king, having initially cultivated the Einhart family's influence to such great strength. Now what needs to be done is to bring them under his control. Subsequently, he dispatched 200 soldiers to provide assistance. The rest is up to you now, Duke Creon. Of course, I will resolve this matter as quickly as possible. At the same time, the prince arrives upon hearing the news. He then proposes to accompany the duke. He wants to take this opportunity to sever all of Einhart's power. But his true purpose is to obtain Seifel. However, the king is very concerned that his strength is insufficient to weaken the Einhart family. Yet he expresses that even going there to gain experience would be worthwhile. Thus, the king approves his request. The scene shifts as the two prepare to head to the Einhart Marquis's mansion. However, since the prince is personally taking action, then there's no need for me to intervene. Naturally, the prince gives an affirmative response to this. With the duke's command, the entire force slowly advances toward their target. As the prince and his men rush toward this location, I have already been casting magic at this moment. A giant hand attacks toward the Marquis. This type of fast and powerful magic would have killed ordinary people during the incantation process. However, they are the mighty Einhart family. Uncle quickly casts his magic. Next, an incredibly powerful flame storm sweeps toward me. I didn't expect him to be able to shorten the incantation time for 6th tier magic. I simply raise my hand to summon a massive wall, instantly blocking his flame magic. At the same time, the Marquis releases lightning arrows toward me. Facing this sudden offensive, I instantly wrap magic power around my entire body, using this to create gravitational control over boulders to block the magic. Even both of them find my responsive abilities hard to believe. Then I release a flame tornado toward both of them. A flame storm rises from the ground. I didn't expect that just demonstrating it once would allow me to release it so perfectly. This talent is truly monstrous. Subsequently, Uncle immediately uses 3 layers of defensive magic to resist. But in less than a moment, the protective magic shatters completely. As Uncle stands stunned, I have already teleported behind him in an instant. As I prepare to cast a spell, Uncle attempts to escape with a burst of energy, but it's already too late. Countless threads sweep toward Uncle. The Marquis beside him immediately recognizes this as movement-restricting magic. But this type of magic poses no challenge whatsoever for Gelton. The next second, Uncle condenses flames in an instant. Then with a wave of his hand, countless threads are ignited immediately. As the two face off, the Marquis has already quietly begun casting lightning magic. All of this remains within his control. At the same time, a golden lightning bolt rushes straight toward me. At this critical moment, I appear completely composed. Then I raise my hand to create an enormously large lightning rod. The next second, that lightning bolt is conducted into the lightning rod. The Marquis now shows complete disbelief. He's very curious about what kind of magic this actually is. However, how could I possibly tell you since this is extremely important information? Hearing this, the Marquis immediately becomes furious. It appears the lightning rod is very effective, because all lightning is absorbed by it. Generally speaking, water magic is considered to counter fire magic, but this isn't actually the case, because as long as fire magic is powerful enough, it can instantly evaporate water. I conducted extensive research when I was very young, because I was extremely curious about magic types. Fire magic can counter earth magic, water magic can counter plant magic. Wind magic can be stopped using stones and steel, but lightning magic is the exception. Although rocks and earth magic can be used to stop it, this method won't work against powerful opponents. However, at this moment, I remember the lightning rods commonly used in my previous life. Although this is my first time using one, it seems the lightning rod's effectiveness is quite good. At the same time, looking at the detestable uncle nearby. Now you're finished. I raise my hand to summon a giant hand. Then I slap him heavily to the ground with one strike. Uncle subsequently collapses in a pool of blood. Now it's one-on-one. At the same time, I raise my hand to summon many magic arrows, but they're all defended against by the Marquis using magic shields. So I upgrade the magic arrows to infinite magic arrows, which as the name suggests are endless magic arrows. Although individually, magic arrows have very weak destructive power. When their numbers reach a certain level, they become sufficiently powerful. The next second, countless magic arrows attack directly toward the Marquis. Although the Marquis exerts all his strength in defense, the sheer quantity is simply too overwhelming. With the sound of shields shattering, the continent's strongest mage falls here and now. He has lost to a child who just turned 17. However, he still finds this hard to believe. Whether it's the talent for learning magic or the calm composure during battle, none of this should belong to a 17-year-old child. Who exactly is my true identity? Then the Marquis crashes heavily to the ground. Although I won't kill him, I will seal his abilities as a mage, just as he wanted to do to Mother. I will completely destroy everything he has. At this moment, Mother stops my actions. I find this very puzzling. Even Kenna and Selena hope I will stop. Ellie, this is enough. Although Mother knows I have great talent for magic, she never imagined that I have now become a 7th tier Grand Mage. Even the unreproducible golem has been created by me, and I can defeat the captain with a single strike. She still can't believe that the innocent and lovely little Ellie has now become a 7th tier Grand Mage capable of standing on his own. However, since they have already been taught a lesson, I think they certainly won't repeat their mistakes, but I only feel Mother's thinking is too naive. This type of person could never have a repentant heart. They will definitely return for revenge. Although this is also possible, at least we hold their secrets in our hands, so they won't act rashly at least. And more importantly, if I rashly seal the Marquis's magical abilities, then the Empire will definitely stir up a bloody storm. At that time, everyone will be in danger. After contemplating for a moment, I agree with Mother. Then let's leave this disgusting place. Find a quiet place to live, and with their abilities, they can enjoy extraordinary treatment wherever they go. Although power is certainly important in life, family affection is most important, so we must never forget this point. Then I sincerely ask the two, are you willing to become my family and live together with me? Of course, they give an affirmative response to this. At the same time, I signal the Golden Knight to step forward. Then it immediately kneels on the spot. This mission was completed well, and it's time for him to have a name. From now on, your name will be Tana. After explaining everything, just as we're about to cast magic to leave this place, a figure blocks our path. Don't think about leaving here. Then a sharp slash attacks toward us. Fortunately, Tana blocks it in time. Otherwise, the consequences would be unthinkable. At the same time, the prince slowly enters everyone's field of vision. However, facing such a powerful opponent, I immediately command Tana, activate the third form immediately. The next second, Tana completes the third form transformation in an instant. Then, with overwhelming power, it turns the situation around. Even the Duke can't help but sigh. If only I could stand on the Empire's side. Unfortunately, I attack the Einhart family, which is extremely important to the Empire, and this is equivalent to declaring war on the Empire. Although he desperately wants to avoid conflict with me, it seems the current situation doesn't allow it. At this time, the prince nearby impatiently signals the Duke, "Deal with these guys immediately. I have never wanted to join the Empire, because I want to destroy that guy." Then I order Tana, "Restrain the Duke's movements." The next second, Tana summons golden swords out of thin air, then engages in combat with the Duke. So next, it's one-on-one. I've already shown you mercy once before, and now you're looking at my mother with those filthy eyes again. This time, I absolutely won't forgive you. At this moment, Mother calls out to stop me. Can't we just leave here directly? After all, confronting the prince is too dangerous. But I signal Mother not to worry, because I have my own arrangements. Looking at the groups of soldiers, I raise my hand to use magic, infinite magic arrows. Although they wear hard armor, it's completely useless against me. At the same time, I raise my hand to summon a giant hammer. Then I swing it with full force toward the prince. The next second, the prince is sent flying dozens of meters away. This should have caused him many internal injuries. External injuries can be healed through treatment, but internal injuries can only be nursed through long periods of time. The Duke nearby becomes very anxious upon seeing this. Although he wants to quickly help the prince, currently he's already struggling just to handle Tana. At this time, I signal Tana to return to the alternate dimension. Then Tana's entire body radiates golden light. The next second, the Duke releases many sword energies toward Tana, although they all precisely pierce through Tana. In an instant, Tana recovers completely as good as new. Then it disappears from its original location. Even the Duke continuously exclaims, "This is simply a monster." At the same time, I take out the gold coin that records everything. Then it transforms into a ball of light floating in my hand. At this moment, I murmur to the prince, "Everything you've done is recorded here. If you dare to trouble us again, then this thing will appear throughout the entire continent. I'm very sorry for creating this trouble. If possible, I hope we can become friends when we meet next time." Then we use teleportation magic to leave this place. What an unreasonable genius. It would have been better if he had appeared in a different way. However, how should he handle the aftermath of all this? Before long, everything that happened with the Einhart family was covered up by them. But stories about the genius mage and the Golden Knight began to spread across this continent. This also became my first shocking debut on this continent. Shortly after the Einhart family incident, we came to live in a remote mountainous area. At this moment, I'm contemplating what to do next. Although I destroyed the Einhart family, and also severely injured the prince. If we return to Banzak, it will definitely bring huge trouble to the people around us. However, I still possess the Empire and family's secrets, so at least they won't easily move against us. Moreover, I learned many things from this battle. I possess extremely fast incantation speed and the strongest magic combinations. If combined with auxiliary magic, I would become a nearly invincible existence. At the same time, the Golden Knight is also exceptionally powerful. Even I didn't expect him to be able to fight back and forth with the Duke. It seems spending 5 years on this matter was very meaningful. If mass production were possible, then ruling the world wouldn't be far away. Unfortunately, this is impossible, because creating one requires at least 3 years and consumes vast amounts of materials. However, in that battle, I discovered something extremely important. Individual power is always limited. After the Einhart family incident, powers from various nations across the continent have set their sights on me. I need to create my own forces before they find me. But how should I do this? At this time, Mother and the others come to my room. Mother is very curious about when exactly I became so powerful. I've always had excellent magical talents, so I've kept this secret hidden since childhood, because I knew that if people with ulterior motives found out, it would cause unnecessary trouble. Although my previous life also contributed to this, I can't tell Mother about these things. However, I'm still Mother's only son. Of course, everyone has their own difficulties. No matter what I do, I will always be Mother's child. Next, we need to prepare for our future life. After all, with such events having occurred, we can't return to Banzak. In the eastern part of the Seldia continent, there are 5 empires and many magic towers, while the west consists of hundreds of countries. Except for some powerful nations, almost no magic towers exist, and I want to build my own magic tower in a city without magic towers. It's said that only 7th tier or higher mages can construct them, because when battles break out, magic towers' offensive capabilities are quite remarkable. Moreover, the construction budget is paid by the country to which it belongs. So where would you like to build it? The Polian Kingdom. That place has vast lands and fertile grasslands, not only a large population but even combat abilities superior to other countries. However, their country doesn't have any magic tower, which causes them to suffer heavy losses from monster invasions every year, especially the nearby Mantis Valley. If we propose to raid this place, the king will definitely agree. Furthermore, the king is an extremely excellent talent and is deeply trusted by various nobles, but due to conflicts between princes, he's been unable to accomplish anything. However, this isn't a problem we need to consider. We only need to figure out how to resolve the monsters in Mantis Valley and the Beastman Forest. I believe the king's army can handle the Beastman Forest, so we only need to resolve the monsters in Mantis Valley. Hearing this, everyone falls into contemplation. Kenna is curious whether she can find a sword instructor there. Of course, after all, I can only teach you breathing techniques. To learn swordsmanship, you still need to find a teacher. Selena also expresses her desire to become stronger, because after experiencing the Einhart incident, she realized how weak she truly is. Even Mother has the same thoughts. Then let's give our all for this. Next, we head to the Taurian Kingdom. After we decide to go to the Taurian Kingdom, the King of Taurian is currently investigating the monsters appearing in the forest. The number of monsters is clearly showing an upward trend. If this continues, the kingdom will eventually fall into danger. The scene shifts to the king currently worrying about Taurian's future, because his 3 sons are fighting fiercely for inheritance rights, but the Duke reminds him not to worry, as the current struggle is more beneficial for the kingdom's development. He suggests that having the 3rd prince inherit the throne would be more appropriate, because the 1st Prince Maxwell is cruel by nature and only treats people as objects. The 2nd Prince Clan is a duplicitous fellow whose heart is as dark as the 1st Prince's, and neither is suitable to become king. Only the 3rd Prince Udemil is most suitable to become king, because he has a gentle personality, strong tolerance, and the talent to lead others. Although he's the most suitable candidate to become king, unfortunately 90% of nobles will support either the 1st or 2nd Prince. Fortunately, the 3rd Prince has 2 powerful followers, Duke Laius, captain of the Royal Guard, and Count Lumil, leader of the Knight Order. Thanks to these 2 holding most of the military power, the current 3-way standoff situation exists. But if the 1st and 2nd Princes join forces to overthrow the 3rd Prince, that would be terrible. The king is currently feeling very troubled, because being too concerned with these matters has resulted in neglecting defenses against magical beasts. Now he should concentrate on dealing with these monsters first. At this time, everyone enters combat readiness, because they're already surrounded by enemies. A soldier suddenly launches a sneak attack. It turns out he was an enemy in disguise from the beginning. The king finds this very puzzling. Why would he choose to betray the Taurian kingdom? At the same time, important matters are being discussed within the Magic Tower. Karisman states, the Master has issued 2 directives. First, the plan to assassinate the king. Rodolphe is currently fighting in Mantis Valley. After it ends, the 1st Prince will ascend to the throne. What you need to do now is use your golem knights to clear areas where monsters appear, and utilize the Taurian kingdom's military strength to dominate surrounding countries. The old man appears completely indifferent, as this is simply effortless for his created golems. The second matter is that reportedly a night golem has appeared in the Storm Empire. Hearing this, the old man immediately becomes very shocked, because in his understanding, he's the only one capable of creating golems. A major incident occurred with the Einhart family. A 7th-tier mage and his golem knight destroyed Einhart. Their strength is at least at the expert level, and that golem possesses self-awareness. Hearing this, the old man immediately becomes extremely shocked. Karisman is curious. Just how powerful are the golems you create? Because Olharton currently belongs to an era of decline. He can only create golems without self-awareness, and can only produce 1 per month. Even the old man never imagined that someone else could create golems, and ones with self-awareness at that. But Karisman indicates there's no need to worry about this, as such golems require several years to create. However, we can't just sit idle and wait. So he signals the old man to collect all information about this golem. The old man is obviously quite interested in this. At the same time, I have now arrived at the Taurian kingdom. But how should I manage to meet the king? If I make a big show of announcing my arrival here, it will cause unnecessary trouble. So what exactly should I do? At this moment, my magical sensing provides feedback. This wavelength indicates at least a sword saint level existence. It seems he comes from the north near the forest. Moreover, he's close to Golden Mountain and the palace. Could it be the king? So I decide to investigate. At the same time, a knight is about to strike toward the king. The next second, he's instantly repelled by a magic shield. Although I don't understand what's happening, I know I can't stand by and watch. However, do you need time to explain? Although you'll all die here eventually. At the same time, a soldier nearby shouts to me, "Please protect His Majesty." I'm startled. This guy is the King of Taurian? I understand. So these are the enemies then. Then I raise my hand to condense energy. The next second, giant hands tear through space instantly. Then an enormously large golden knight appears before everyone. Only now do the two realize. It's actually the Golden Knight. Could I be the legendary youth who destroyed the Einhart family? At this moment, an ice flower has already condensed in my hand. The next second, countless ice flowers instantly bloom on the ground, and they restrict the enemy's movements. Then I signal Tana to begin action, but remember to leave a few alive. With Tana summoning the golden sword in its hand, all enemies are wiped out in just moments. The king nearby shows complete disbelief. Watching everything happening before him, he's now certain that I'm that legendary genius youth. The kingdom's highest mage is only 6th tier. If I'm willing to stay here, then the kingdom's future will be immeasurable. At the same time, I introduce myself to the king and express that meeting him is a great honor. Moreover, helping your majesty was merely a simple task. As for the survivors left behind, they can help you find the mastermind. To express his gratitude toward me, the king proposes to reward me. After some contemplation, I agree. After arranging to meet again tomorrow, I use magic to leave this place. At this moment, the duke nearby believes he must be the legendary youth who destroyed the Einhart family. He might be able to help us solve the monster invasion problem. Based on his strength, breaking through to 8th tier Grand Mage is only a matter of time. On the other side, I inform everyone about what just happened. Although things develop somewhat unexpectedly, how should you gain the king's support? There's no need to worry about this, because I've already thought of a strategy. At this time, a group of drunkards approach his mother and the others to chat them up. My face darkens. Please don't approach my family. Then they're scared away hurriedly. Kenna and Selena's faces turn slightly red at this moment. Mother immediately understands their feelings. However, you two should be able to handle such third-rate trash yourselves. Hearing this, even Mother appears very worried, because I'm truly a major blockhead. The scene shifts to the kingdom's mage, leisurely awaiting my arrival. At this time, a teleportation magic suddenly appears before him. He immediately recognizes this as advanced magic. The next second, I emerge from the teleportation magic. It seems you're the mage who saved His Majesty. Now I can finally lighten my burden. I look puzzled. What's wrong with this guy? Just as I'm feeling very confused about this, he realizes he's been too abrupt. After all, he's never seen such powerful magical power, so he momentarily lost control of his emotions. Moreover, this is his first time seeing such a young 7th tier Grand Mage. Then he indicates he'll lead me to His Majesty, though he hopes to discuss magic on the way. It seems this person has quite high enthusiasm for learning magic. The scene shifts as I raise my hand to use magic. Even the uncle continuously exclaims, to be able to cast magic in such a short time, this is truly a top-tier existence among 7th tier Grand Mages. Then he falls into contemplation about how exactly I managed to do this. The kingdom's scenery nearby attracts my attention. This place is just as rumored, not only abundant in food, but also very rich in resources. It seems Torian is indeed an excellent empire. Seeing the uncle's studious appearance, I immediately hand him my self-created magic formula. After seeing this method, he realizes there are always people beyond people and skies beyond skies. Although I generally don't tell others about this method, considering how friendly you are, I'll teach it to you. However, please remember to keep it confidential. The scene shifts as we arrive before the king. Upon seeing the king, the uncle continuously praises how excellent I am. Obviously, the king already knows his personality, then signals him to withdraw. However, I'm curious. Why are there no guards around the king? Is it to make me feel more natural? Then I kneel before the king and express my gratitude for the king's invitation. At the same time, the king suddenly kneels toward me and sincerely thanks me for saving him. Then he invites me to eat and chat. I get straight to the point, Your Majesty. Why don't you hire me as your country's mage? After all, your country needs to build a magic tower. Exactly, because this not only enhances the country's strategy, but can also prevent the annual monster invasion incidents. If I'm willing to stay in the kingdom, then all these problems can be easily resolved. However, due to the succession struggle, the Torian kingdom is now in peril. For the kingdom's revival, for building my own magic tower, for ensuring the third prince safely ascends to the throne, he must rely on my power. Of course, I'm willing to help the kingdom. However, I have 3 conditions. First, I need 3 years to build the magic tower. Hearing this, the king immediately becomes extremely shocked, as territories are already under monster invasion. If this continues, Lubius won't be able to hold out. Originally, it was because of the mage's presence that they could contend with monsters, but when mages disappeared one after another, the territory lost its defensive capability. Could this be the Einhart family's doing? The territory still exists now, completely because Count Lubius's daughter is managing the situation. However, if monsters attack again, the next time the territory will cease to exist. Although I can understand your feelings, the 3-year time frame cannot be shortened, as building a magic tower requires this much time. As for the monsters in Mantis Valley, I will help you resolve